Ron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Ron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Ron.
Ron is here with the one and the only, the living legend, Captain Tommy Scovel. How's it going, Tommy?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Aaron?
Pretty good. Guys, for the viewing audience, we're navigating a bit of a connection problem, so we're not going to make this a long video. Tommy and I might have a lag. We're going to try not to accidentally talk over each other. For those of you not already familiar with Tommy's channel, you can jump over and find him on YouTube at The Lifeboat. He's got some amazing content over there. Guys, Ashton Kutcher just cannot get a break. I mean, who would have thought? I'm going to show you guys an article. I'm going to show you the Ashton Kutcher stuff, and then we're going to talk about some other stuff here. So for those who may not know, it has just been revealed just this week that for the last 3 years, whoever turned in back in 2020, Thomas Mesereau, Danny's original attorney, had received an order from the court that once Danny was arraigned or indicted or whatever it was, he had to turn in all of his firearms, okay, all of his weapons. And someone filled out a legal document that said the 13 weapons that were surrendered were all of the weapons that Danny had. It turns out there was 10. It's 9 or 10, depending on whether one weapon was destroyed or not. 9 or 10 weapons that Danny failed to surrender during these past 3 years that he wasn't supposed to have any of these weapons. And the judge wants to know where the hell these weapons are. And Danny and his defense team are saying, we don't know what you're talking about. Danny gave the weapons to a friend, and the friend doesn't know what happened to them. Guys, you're not going to believe it. Take a look at this. Actually, I'll show it to you this way. So back in 2018, Ashton Kutcher had tweeted a photo of a firearm. I'll switch the view here 1 second. Ashton Kutcher had tweeted the photo of a firearm that a friend had just gifted him in a parking lot outside of a country western bar where his birthday party was held. Now, maybe he can be forgiven for not knowing that would be highly illegal. Okay. That photo was deleted from the internet. I am begging you internet super sleuths out there to help me find the photo that was tweeted and also posted to Instagram on February 7th, 2018, which is Ashton Kutcher's birthday, of the gun that he said he was given as a gift, because we're going to check the photo of that gun against the list of Danny's missing guns. Now, guys, check this out. There just so happened to be a shooting at that bar later. Not later that day, but later in the year. And that brought up into the headlines the fact that, and then Ashton tweeted after the shooting, he was like, oh my God, I was at a birthday party that year. That could have been me if it was the wrong date, right? The name of this, we'll look at these tweets here. My wife threw me a birthday party this year at the borderline. The only reason we're alive is the shooter chose a different night. Okay. So we're not going to focus on the shooting itself, but here we go. Kutcher, 40, also revealed that he received a gun in the parking lot of the Borderline Bar and Grill following his birthday. Quote, my friend gave me a gun as a gift in the parking lot of the Borderline on my birthday. I've never shot it, and I don't think I ever will. I don't think there's anything else later in this article about the details of the gun. There's no link to the photo of the gun, but it's like Danny's defense team went to court today and said, Danny gave his guns to a friend. So we already know Danny's in the habit of giving guns to friends. We also know Ashton Kutcher's in the habit of receiving guns from friends. I mean, okay. So here's the thing. Right. The DA has 3 weeks to come up with a list of addresses that they suspect some of these missing guns might be at. Based on Ashton's tweet, the DA has at least some, now I don't know what the threshold of probable cause is, but at least some reason to think Danny might have gifted Ashton Kutcher a gun. Now, Ashton, here's some advice. I'm sure you don't watch my channel, but just for fun, you might want to call the DA and tell them who gave you the gun. Because if you just say it wasn't Danny, I don't know what you're talking about. Who, what? That's not good enough. Now, here's the thing. Danny's not going to roll over on his friends and tell the authorities every friend he gave a gun to. So it really is, I think, going to be up to Ashton to come forward and either just say, yes, Danny gave me this gun. Jesus, take it, please. I don't want it. Like, because let me ask you, Tommy, I know you're not a lawyer, but you might have some knowledge in this area. Who's guilty of a crime? The person who gave the gun or the person who received it?
Well, it really depends on what the crime is, right? If you take a gun from somebody and you commit a crime with it, the person who handed you the gun can be in deep trouble as well. It's really a dicey area. And there's about 500 different things. Your lawyer friend Zach would probably say the same thing. There are so many different nuances in possession of a firearm law. It's incredible. But I'll tell you something. I went to prison for firearms, and when I handed over the list of all of the guns that I had in my possession, and they went and got them, there was one gun that was missing, and it was a teeny little handgun, a 32 caliber Walther PPK, and they lost their mind. Right, the FBI was there, the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. If you could have seen how they lost, I mean, it literally went postal because there was this one little, the list of guns he's missing. We're talking about heavy ordnance, right? The stuff that on this list, with the exception of 3 handguns, the rest of these things are what you would call an assault weapon. By that, I mean, none of these would have been allowed in the 1995 assault weapons ban. All of these would have been out. 2 of them come standard with big 50 round barrels, magazines on each side. So we're talking about a gun that shoots a NATO round and has a 100 round capacity. Every one of these guns can also be converted to fully auto. My gut as a criminal is that he probably had these things as toys turned into automatic weapons. And his attorney said, if you turn over an automatic weapon, because normally how this is handled is you have to hand these things over to a firearms licensed broker. When I had to hand the stuff over, it goes to a firearm licensed broker. He holds on to that hardware until you're found guilty, right? And then the stuff is sold and the proceeds go to the family, because it doesn't mean you no longer own the stuff. You could still get the cash back. You just can't possess it. That broker will sell it at fair market value. You'll get the money back. The other option is that you're found not guilty, and you can drive down to the gun shop whenever you want with your little piece of paper from the court and pick up your arsenal. And this dude had an arsenal. I mean, every one of those. These are NATO rounds. He had a couple AR-15s. He had an AK-47. He had some really heavy stuff. If you look at the list of what he did not turn in, it's incredible. Yeah.
So yeah, on the list of what he didn't turn in
on the record.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just want to say that there is a para ordinance P1345, and I think it's really funny if that's what Ashton Kutcher happens to turn over, because everything that is missing is a big, heavy artillery stuff except that handgun, right? The rest of the stuff all kind of makes sense to not be on the list, but maybe he just happened to give that as a gift to his friend on his birthday, and that's why it's missing in action with the rest of them. But it's odd. If you look at the entire list if you look at every weapon on the list, Aaron, the ones that are missing are the ones that a gangster would say, I want all of those. It's not like haphazardly separated. These are what gangsters call choppers or sweepers. These are things designed to put a lot of lead in the air in a really short period of time. And they're not, I mean, this isn't hunting stuff. This is killing stuff. It's the reason that the first attorney didn't want this stuff to get read into court, Aaron.
Interesting. So I want to correct something I might have said in an earlier video. I was under the impression that the document that was submitted by Thomas Mesereau, meaning Thomas Mesereau is the lawyer who submitted it, but he's not the one who executed the document that he submitted under seal. I was incorrectly under the impression that the original document of compliance claimed that all 23 guns were turned over. That's actually not the case. The mistake was that the document said 13 guns were turned over, and those are all the weapons Danny Masterson has. That was the lie. That was the lie. So that tends to give a little bit of credence to your theory that there was something wrong. Danny didn't want to admit that he had those guns because they were illegally modified. That's your theory right now.
Correct. That is my theory. Because of the list, and I got the list here, there are 3 handguns on the list. The rest of them are all weapons that very easily can be turned into fully auto, or what they call lever select. So you can shoot regular or fully auto, but all of these are easily convertible, and all of these have very large capacity magazines. These things are heavy artillery, with the exception of 2 pistols that are this big, right? That you could fit in a pack of Marlboros. I'm not kidding, like the smallest guns you've ever seen. And that handgun that I think he probably gave to somebody as a birthday gift in the parking lot of a restaurant.
That is
that one just doesn't
fascinating.
match anything else on the list.
So let's try to connect a couple other dots here, because I think we should assume that the guns Danny didn't turn over were weapons that he legally, like correctly purchased, because otherwise the government wouldn't have a record that he has them in the first place, right? So legally,
Absolutely.
do you agree with
I don't
this?
think he
Do
got
you agree
any
with that?
illegally. 100%.
Right.
100%.
That's right. So either he literally gave all these guns away as gifts, and so he didn't have them to turn in, or there's some other reason he didn't want to admit that he had them. I actually really like your theory that he had them illegally modified, because he's just a guy who didn't care, thought he could get away with it, wasn't a big deal. And how easy is it to unmodify if he were to turn those in? Is that harder?
No, it's not. It's not hard to go back and forth, but he chances are had someone do it. And usually they're pretty, fond of doing the kind of work the first time around. They get kind of dicey when you want to go back to them. People that do that kind of work start getting a little nervous. If you call and say, hey, can you undo that? They go, who are you? Wrong number. Crank call. They're not usually too fired up to talk to you a second time.
That's a damn good theory, Tommy. Wow. Okay,
Well,
so
you
based
want my
on what
whole
you said,
theory?
I just want to. Yeah, please give it to us.
Okay, here's my whole theory. If it's me and I'm the criminal, right? And I got the list of guns that I saw, the master list of all of them. I figure all of the big choppers, they've all been turned into fully automatics. They were toys that are now illegally. And by the way, a fully auto can get you, even if you're not a felon, it can get you 10, 15 years. For me, it would get me 25 to life, right? They take it very seriously. That's automatic stuff. But the other 3 guns, 2 of them are guns that if I were going to run, I'd want. They're so small that you can hide them, get patted down, and still hide them. Like they're gangster, small little guns. They're in movies all the time. They're Saturday night specials. The other one doesn't fit anything on the list. When you look at the master list, you're like, I even said it earlier today. I said, I wonder why the hell that 45's in there. That doesn't make any sense. It's a nice big pistol. It sort of fits the list that they turned in. I predict that that's the one he gave to his friend in the parking lot. I think it'll be really funny.
Okay,
if that
so
comes
just
back to be right.
All right, so just to put a cherry on it, because I don't have the actual specs of the guns in front of me. The one that, based on the list, that you're predicting, if he gave a gift to Ashton, it was. Read it for me, please, one last time.
It's the Para Ordnance P18. It's a 45 caliber handgun. It's based on the 1911A frame.
Okay, Ashton, if that weapon is in your possession, you might want to make a phone call to the DA's office this week. From one friend to another, unless you want to have your door kicked down sometime soon, looking for that bad boy. Now, look, I'm kind of joking that the judge would order that the judge would order raids on these properties, but even to raid a property, though, you need a search warrant. I mean, they're not going to kick down doors for this thing, would they?
They would kick down my door in a New York minute, but they're not going to kick down Ashton Kutcher's, right? I promise you, there's a double standard. If I had this list of weapons in my possession and they were missing, this would be on CNN. They would be coming out right now going, uh-oh, these things are out in the public. They would be freaking out. I gave him my little list the same way he did. I turned in all the guns the same way he did. I was missing one pistol that was this large. And they brought in alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. They brought in the FBI. I mean, they lost their mind over this little pistol. They should be going nuts. Wow. This guy's got enough armament there to start a small war. This is really heavy stuff he's got here. This is a gangster's Christmas wish list.
Wow. Okay. All right, guys. Well, hey, please, you internet super sleuths out there. Ashton Kutcher's birthday is, I got to double check it. I thought it was January 7th. Hold on. Ashton Kutcher birthday. Yes. Okay. February 7th. February 7th, 2018, Twitter, Instagram. I already checked the Wayback Time Machine, and the results that I was getting were gibberish. If anyone out there has a better way to find the photo, please, if you find it, shoot it to me at growingupinscientology@gmail.com. Any last words, Tommy?
No, I think hopefully this gets it sped up and he can get home. You know, the poor guy, he needs to get to his new place of residence and get moved in.
Bubba the Love Panda's lonely. He needs some company. All right, guys, check out The Lifeboat on YouTube to see Tommy's amazing videos. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right